Welcome to today's show, Success and Intentional Lifestyle. I'm your host, Jeff Heiser, a motivator, a leader, and a communicator. Welcome, and thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. I know there's a lot of people probably out there listening, and this is my first live broadcast, and I am really excited to be here. Before I get on any further, I want to say something about the program that was just on American Warrior Radio. If you're not listening to that and you're a vet and you're listening to my show, make sure you tune into their show. They've got some really good information going on. I had no idea until I sat in this morning and heard their program. It's fantastic. So listen in on American Warrior Radio. Like I said, this is my first broadcast, and I am really excited to be here. I'm excited about sharing my experiences about the guests that will be joining us here over the next several months, and just about getting to know all of you out there. I know there's a lot of people out there that I've spoke with, that have been in the audience when I've spoke out in California, out in Utah, out in Oregon, Washington, and I want to thank you for joining in and listening today to the show. As the title of the show goes, this show is Success and Intentional Lifestyle, and it's intended to be a show. I started out as it being a show about veterans that have been really down on their luck and that were able to turn it around and become a success by being intentional about their life. And you know, the only way that you can live your life and be successful is to be intentional about it. I also want to say that I'm very thankful to be here today. I'm thankful for the people in my life, my mom, my wife, my kids, but I'm really thankful for being here today on the radio. You know, every day that I can wake up and put my feet down on the floor is a day that I am thankful for, because it's a gift that I was given. It's another day of life that I can go on and share with others. You know, when you live life intentionally, things happen. They might not happen for you today. They might not happen for you tomorrow, but if you take that step, if you step out and you become intentional in your life, things will start to happen that will make you and help you build a successful, happy life. You have to take the step. You know, I'm going to talk about some things today that are really difficult for me to talk about, and one of them is back in 1993. You know, I sat in my room, and I was by myself. I had a choice to make. I had a choice, and that choice was I could either continue on, but make the changes that I needed in my life, or basically I could end my life. I decided to continue on with my life, and the only way that I was able to do that was to be intentional about the changes that I needed to make. I knew I needed to make changes. I just didn't know what the changes were. I had to ask for help. I had to get people from the outside that I didn't like talking to give me the help I needed to get through the crisis that I was having in my life. I had to take that help that I was given. I had to be intentional about making the changes that I needed to make in my life, and I had to move on. Now, as difficult as it might seem, what you hear on this program at times will be tough to hear. We're going to have some stories that will probably tug at your heart pretty deep. What you hear, you may even become very angry or upset. You might become angry or upset at yourself, at others, at me on the show. You might think that what is being said is directed right at you. But most of all, it is my mission with this show to help you build a lasting, successful lifestyle. I've been there. I've done it. I know what it is to be at the bottom of the barrel. I know what it is to feel like there are no other options, but there are. This program, in many ways, will be geared towards the veterans. But it's not only about veterans. After my last trip out west, I found out that it's about first responders. It's about law enforcement. It's about doctors. It's about nurses. It's about crime victims. It's about anyone feeling like they are stuck in life with no other options. Now, before I go on, I want to say one thing. One of the guys from the American Warrior Radio gave this to me. If you are a vet and you're in crisis, you need to get on the phone now. Call 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. That's 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. I want the message to get out that you may be in a bad place right now, that you might be in a very dark place. You might have the demons talking to you. But trust me when I say this. Trust me. If you're listening to this show, you are beginning to become intentional. And you need to be intentional to change your life. You know, you might not have that job that you want. You might not have that corner office. You might not have that big house or all the money you want. You might not even have a job. You might be living in the back seat of your car. Shoot, you might have the demons talking in your head. You might be reliving a bad experience over and over and over again. There might be periods of time when you're experiencing the feelings of being overwhelmed, lost, full of anxiety. All those things add up and need to be changed. If you're not intentional about doing the things that are needed to make that change, I'm telling you, you will either end up institutionalized, incarcerated, or no longer here with us. If you are in a bad place right now, if you've got the demons talking, you need to get help. You know, I was 22 years old in December 1979. That was the day I met fear face to face. That morning, the Navy bus I would ride back and forth to work was ambushed by terrorists. Two of my friends, John Ball and Emil White, were killed, and about 10 others were wounded. Needless to say, it was a really bad day. You know, I can still hear helicopters coming in. I can still smell the Marines that were assigned to protect my life to and from work. I still have days when I'm filled with anxiety and fear. Today is one. Being the first time on a live broadcast, I feel it. For years, the voices in my head kept telling me, don't talk about that morning. Just have another drink. Have a few more drinks. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just have another drink. Then in 1993, my friend took his own life. At his funeral, in front of everyone there, his wife stood up in the front. She called me out, pointed at me, and she blamed me and my drinking for my friend's death. I was completely and totally devastated by it. The voices in my head, they got really loud. They were telling me to go home and do the same thing. I remember I got home. I was sitting on the end of my bed. I was devastated. I was full of fear. I knew I had a choice I had to make. See, I could face my fears and fix myself, or I could do what my friend did. I could just listen to the voices in my head telling me it was time to check out. I got help. I silenced the voices in my head, and I quit drinking. In 2010, I got on stage for the first time to share my story about that December morning. It was the first time my wife had ever heard me talk about it. It was hard. It was uncomfortable. As I got ready to go out on stage, I remember looking out from behind stage, and I saw my wife. She was sitting right there, right in the front row. I had to go back to the dressing room. I had to talk myself off the ledge, man. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and saying, you can do this. You can do this. Anybody that would have seen me there would have thought I was crazy. I went out on stage. I looked down at my wife in the front row, and I told her I loved her. And then I told my story. When I was done, my wife came up to the stage. She gave me a big hug. There wasn't a dry eye in the place. You know, I'm telling you this because I want you to know that things can be tough. I'm telling you this because whatever your goals are, whatever our goals are, at some point, we will have to make a choice. That choice will be uncomfortable. That choice will be difficult. That choice will require us to face our fears. You know, there's an author, his name is Jack Canfield, and he said, everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. I learned that it's where the magic happens. It's where you grow. It's where you learn new things. It's where you're able to help others face their fears. That's why I'm here today. I'm facing my fears, but I want to help others and let them know that it's okay to ask for help, that you can get through this. Now, my show is not a political show. I'm not going to be talking about this veteran did this or this veteran did that, or like the American Warrior guys talking about the laws or any of that. I will talk about veterans and their success. And on occasion, I may bring in something that could be considered political or it could be a hot topic. I want you to know this. 8,030 veterans a year are taking their own life because they don't believe they can be intentional enough to make a change for the better in their life. They don't believe that they can get help. They believe their only option, it's come to taking their life. Nobody told them loud enough that they should get help or that it's okay to ask for help. I'm telling you right now. First, if I'm going to repeat this number. If you need help, if you're a veteran in crisis, call 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. I'm telling you, it's okay to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. Regardless of what you might believe, it is not a sign of weakness. Giving up by giving in is a sign of weakness. I have a colonel friend that used to tell me all the time. He was deployed numerous times. So he's very decorated combat colonel. I'm not going to say much more about him, but I think he goes by Rambo. But he told me there's a saying, never give up, never give in, never surrender. And I say to you, never give up, never give in, never surrender has as much to do with the fight in the heat of battle as it does with the quality of your life. When you get help, things begin to change. And that's what this show is all about. It's about change. It's going to be about becoming intentional in your life so that you can realize success. You know, last night I watched the show 2020, and the show was about this family of brothers. I think there were 7 brothers and the mother. And the father had kept the family, I guess, hostage, or kept them in an apartment on the 16th floor in New York, in a New York apartment. They had never, ever been out of that apartment. They used to sit at the window and watch the life go by. They used to watch down on the street how life would progress. Then one day, one of the brothers decided that he wanted to experience that life. He wanted to see what that life was really all about. He walked to the door, and he pulled open that door, and he stepped out into the hallway. He didn't stop at the hallway. He went down 16 flights of stairs and then walked through the city. He didn't even know his address. The way he found his way back was he kept that building behind him so he knew where the building was so that he could follow back along the sidewalk as he watched the building. That one intentional step that he took not only changed his life, but it changed the life of his brothers and his mother. They now have a movie that's coming out called The Wolf Pack. That's what being intentional can do. You know, success is measured many different ways. For some, it means having lots of money. It means having a big house, a corner office, trophy wife or trophy husband, or, you know, the brand spanking new fast car. For me, success is that I'm able to be here today to share this message with you. If I hadn't asked for help, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here sharing this message with you. So that's what this program is going to be about going forward. We're going to have a lot of guests on our show that will have been really low in their lives at some point, and they have turned it around by being intentional and have become successful. We're going to talk a lot about things that have to do with how we become successful in life and how we become intentional in our lifestyles. How you make the changes, how you take the steps, how you get out of that comfort zone that you've created for yourself to protect yourself and your ego, that comfort zone that you're trapped in, how you get away from that bottle, how you get away from those pills. And we're going to do it in a way that is really intentional. We're going to do it in a way, we're going to hear from people who have been there and who have done it. Now, again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you are a veteran in crisis, I need you to get on the phone now, dial 1-800-273-8255, and press 1. And there'll be help on that other end of the line. Trust me, it is an option. You need to take that step. You need to be intentional about this. This show is Success and Intentional Lifestyle. I would not be here right now if it wasn't for people that in themselves were intentional, that were that got my attention in a way that made me understand that I needed to do something to fix myself, or I wasn't going to be around. It was something that I needed to do in my life. Now, at the time, I felt like I had no other options. It was, I didn't see a future. I didn't see a future until somebody got my attention. My wife got my attention. And it was that my friend's wife standing up that really rattled my cage. I wasn't the reason why he killed himself. Sure, we were drinking buddies, we were fishing buddies, but I wasn't the reason. I didn't realize that until a long ways down the road. I didn't realize that I was doing it. I was doing that to mask my survivor's guilt. See, I thought I was the one that was responsible for my friends being killed. I had switched shifts with my friends. So that put them on the bus and not me. That meant that they were sitting there when the terrorists attacked and not me. So this show is called Success and Intentional Lifestyle. And again, thank you for listening. I really appreciate all of the people from outside that have been listening. This is my first live broadcast, and I really am excited about it. And there's a few things that I wanted to say before we go to a break. I really want to hear from you. I'm not going to take any calls this week. Starting next week, I'll be taking calls. July 4th, I have a really, really great guest that's going to be on the air, Dr. Dorothy Bonvillain. She works with military spouses. She has been for the last 40 years. If you're a Twitter user, you can tweet me at MediaFishPro. And if you're on Facebook user, you can like my page, please. And of course, you can post questions out there. You find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Jeff Heiser MLC. Or you can go to my website, www.jeffheiserradio.com, and send me a comment from the contact page. So it's time to hear from some of our sponsors. One of our sponsors is Bombeck and Fisher. If you are a company in crisis and you need a spokesperson, contact Bombeck and Fisher and Media Fish Productions. They communicate visually, and they communicate visually, and they communicate your motivation, your leadership, and your communications. So again, if you want to get on my email list, please go out and go to my website, www.jeffheiserradio.com. Click the little blue button up on the top, and you'll become a member of the MLC Alliance. And I'll start sending you all the good information that we have about creating success, creating successful lifestyles, and how you get through some of these difficult times in your life and come out on the other end okay. With that, I think we're going to go to some breaks here. Again, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Jeff Heiser MLC. And you can go sign up for my for my newsletter at jeffheiserradio.com. And I think we're going to a break.
Jeff, this is Wayne West over in the control room. How are you doing today?
Very good, Wayne. Thank you.
Doing a great job. You don't seem too nervous for a first-time radio broadcast, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Wayne.
A veteran over here. I've never met you before, but Armed Forces Radio here for about 8 years, so we'll manage. Everything's A-OK. And we're coming up on the bottom of the hour. And Jeff, hi. And where are you from, Jeff? I didn't mean to catch you in the middle of the drink there.
Right here in Merritt Island.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I didn't say that I was a Navy vet, and I lived here in Merritt Island. So,
okay, we'll go. We're going to check out Westwood One News, find out what's going on around the planet, and we'll cover some news, and we'll get right back with you, Jeff, in about 3 minutes.
Thanks, Wayne. Welcome back. This show is Success and Intentional Lifestyle. I'm your host, Jeff Heiser. And thank you for listening in. Like I said earlier, this is my first broadcast, and I'm really excited about being here and to have this opportunity to share the experiences and the experiences of my guests with you in the near future. I really want to hear from you out there, and like I said, this week I'm not going to take any calls, but starting next week I will. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at MediaFishPro.com. And if you're a Facebook user, please go out and like my page. And you can find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Jeff Heiser MLC. Or you can just go to my website, jeffheiserradio.com, and send me a comment or leave a comment on the contact page. So it's time to become intentional. That's what the show is all about. Today, I'm going to lay the groundwork for those of you listening who want to live a more successful, more fulfilled, happy life. I'm going to suggest right now that if you're not taking some notes, you should get yourself a piece of paper, get yourself a notebook or pen with a pen or a pencil, and write down your thoughts and ideas as you listen to the show today. You know, there are many, many people who just drift through life with little or no direction, without any intention. They live in this comfort zone where nothing ever really happens for them. They are in the same dead-end job that they were in 20 years ago, and they want to live a more happy life, but they don't know how to go about it. To live more successfully, you must be willing to take the first step, and today, that's what we're going to talk about. That's why I said if you take that piece of paper out and that or a notebook and have something to write with, and you start writing down your thoughts and writing down your ideas. When you do that, you're manifesting yourself, your ideas and your thoughts. You're taking an action. No longer is it just the thought in your head. Now you've written it down. It becomes an action. You have become, or starting to become, intentional about what you're doing. What you do today, that first step, taking those notes, writing down your ideas or your thoughts, what you do by doing that will have a direct relationship and profound relationship to what your tomorrow will be. That first step to be intentional has a direct and profound relationship to what your tomorrow is. Just like in that show last night when that young man opened the door, stepped out into the hallway, and walked down those stairs, those 16 flights of stairs, it changed his life. If he had never done that, his life would have still remained the same. The next day, they would have watched more movies in the apartment, just wondering what the outside world was all about. Just like yesterday determines what you are today, today will determine what your tomorrow becomes. If you write down some thoughts that you've had over time, you write these thoughts down, you write these ideas down, you might tomorrow, as a result of writing that down, you might decide that it's time to start that new business. It's time to start to look for the new job. It's time to get out of that dead-end cubicle that I've been in for the last 25 years. You know, when I talk to people about how they view success and what they believe success is, I'm often amazed. And let me rephrase that. I am often astounded, absolutely astounded by what they say. See, there are those that believe it's all about luck. They believe that successful people just hit it right. They're just in the right place at the right time. They always get picked by as the team captain because they're the good-looking ones. They believe successful people are always in the right place at the right time. These people, they place all of their hope and efforts in the belief that someday, their number is going to be called. That they too will be in the right place at the right time, that their looks will improve or whatever, and they're going to be the captain, and it just doesn't happen. Then there are the ones that believe that it's something magical or something mystical. They believe that there has to be a secret formula. There has to be some secret method or plan to this for success. There has to be some shortcut that I can take, or some pill or something I can do that gets me the success that I'm after. Now, these people, they spend their entire life chasing secret formulas, waiting for their planets to align, their stars to align, burning their incense, and looking for shortcuts that are never found. Because they don't exist. There's no magic pill to success. There's no magic formula for success. And then there are the ones who believe others are successful because they helped them get there. That it was the sweat off of their back that got their boss that promotion. That's why he's successful. It's because I did all the work for him. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like you do so much for others, but you never get a piece of the pie? You know, you can do something about changing that feeling. Absolutely can. I certainly hope you're not one of the ones waiting around for change to happen, for your winning number to be called, for you to be the lucky one in the right place at the right time. Because, you know, you do realize winning the lottery, you have a better chance of getting hit by lightning than winning the lottery. Believe it or not, it's up to you. You need to become more intentional about your life and where you are headed and what you want to achieve and what you want to accomplish. If you want to change, you must become more intentional to bring about the change in your life. It's no magic pill. It's no magic potion. It's no being in the right place at the right time. If you're waiting around for something to cause a complete upheaval in your life, you might as well forget about it. You're going to be waiting a long time. I know people who have waited their entire life for something to happen, for their number to be called, to be in the right place at the right time when it, in reality, all they had to do was take that first step. All they had to do was what you're doing, if you're doing it right now, is write that thought or idea down and then just take some action on it. All they had to do was step out that one time. Just like in the program last night where the young man decided, he opened that door and he stepped into the hallway. That's all it took to completely not only change his life, but the lives of his brothers and his mother. I couldn't believe the show. They had never been to a beach. They didn't know what it was to talk to other people. But his action of opening that door and stepping into the hallway completely changed their whole world. Yes, I know it sounds simple, and you're probably thinking to yourself, if it's simple, how can it work? I've heard it before. It's too simple. It's not going to work. But this is it. It is simple. It takes hard work. And many times it's something that happens to you in your life that makes you take that first step out of your comfort zone. For me, it was my friend's wife standing up in front of everybody I knew at his funeral and blaming me for his death. It just takes that first intentional step to change your life. For me, I went home and I decided it would be better if I made the changes instead of ending my life. If your life is not where you want it to be, you have the power to change it. See, the beauty of stepping out and trying new things is that you get to see what works for you and what doesn't while you're figuring out what brings change to your life and what doesn't. The more new things that you try, the more resilient you become. The easier it becomes to step outside of your comfort zone to where the magic happens, where you learn new things, to where you experience things that you could have never imagined experiencing in your life. It is simple when you think about it. If you take that step to try something new and it doesn't work out, you're still a success because you stepped outside of your comfort zone that has had you trapped to try something new in the first place. Regardless of whether or not it worked for you, you still had the courage to try, and that's what you need. You need to take that step and build that courage to take the next step. That makes you an instant success and a more positive person in the long run. Once you take that first step, you begin getting a ball rolling. You'll start to notice momentum changes. You'll start to notice things are starting to change up for you. You'll start to feel like you might be in the right place at the right time. If you stay focused on expanding and exploring in new things, you will become the proverbial snowball, getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you gain momentum and more momentum as you work your way towards success. As you gain that momentum, more and more positive things will begin to happen and come your way. It's not luck. It's that you took that step to make something happen, and now it's starting to happen. If you want to have more success in your life, set those intentions of what you want. That's why I said take out a piece of paper and write down your ideas and thoughts about what you're hearing today on this show. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you need help. Maybe you need to reconcile. Maybe you want to get out of that cube, just don't know how. Write it down. Commit yourself to the goal you want to reach and go after it. Go after it every day until you reach that mark you set for yourself. The sizes of the steps you take, they don't matter. Big steps or small steps, as long as they are in the direction that you're trying to achieve. When they are taken on purpose, you set a new course in your life. Just like on that show last night. That show really affected me. That kid, his intention of opening that door, just the simple act of turning the doorknob and stepping into a hallway completely and totally changed his life, the lives of his brothers and his mother. With enough of those steps, momentum builds and builds and builds to the point where there is no stopping you. Success, heck, let's call it greatness. It starts with you believing in yourself. If you don't believe in you, no one else will. That was my first step that I had to do, was I had to believe in myself that I had the ability to make the changes that I needed to make and stick to them so that I could get a happier, more successful life. You know, have you ever had that feeling, you know that feeling when someone gives you a compliment, or when someone, you're in the mall or you're walking down the sidewalk and you pass someone attractive and they smile at you when your eyes catch? Those are good feelings, right? They really are. Those are good feelings. What if you were able to take those good feelings and call them up at will? The problem is, we're our worst enemies. We can do it if we want, but we have these voices in our head that talk to us all the time. They talk us right out of things that are good for us. You have the voices. You know what I'm talking about. You want to go get that new job, and you're saying, well, why do you want to do that? You're comfortable right here. You got a paycheck. Or you want to start that business. Oh, there's too much risk. You don't have the money. Why are you wanting to do that? That's the voice in your head telling you that you don't have what it takes. Those voices, they stop you right dead in your tracks. If our friends were to talk to each other that way or talk to us that way, we tell them to stop. We tell them to take it someplace else. Why is it then we can't do the same thing for the voices in our head that keep us from stepping outside of our comfort zone, that has us trapped? Because it's easy. It's easy to make excuses to silence those voices and keep yourself safe and sound in your comfort zone and not have to worry about anything happening. When you're pursuing success, excellence is no substitution. You want to write that down. When you're pursuing your success, excellence is no substitution. I think anyone can achieve excellence. If you work hard enough and practice long enough, you'll be excellent. You'll be excellent at being the cube monitor. Excellence is just being the best at something everyone else does. Nothing wrong with it. It's just, you're just like everyone else. But success is doing things others only dream about. The problem is, most people believe they don't have what it takes. Their voices convince them they don't have it. They don't believe they can be successful. They convince themselves they are not good enough to achieve real success, so they make excuses as to why they can't be. What I hear most of the time from people that I talk with about being intentional and why aren't they being intentional in their life is, I can't. I don't have the degree. I don't have the certification. I don't have the certificate. I don't have the money. Or one of the favorites of everyone that I've spoke with is, I don't have the time. There's always an excuse not to do it. See, over time, it becomes easy to use an excuse and stay put in your comfort zone that you've created, that little trap. Change doesn't happen until the excuses stop, and success doesn't occur without change. Excuses can be stopped. It's a choice. It's a choice that you have to make. See, I learned very, very early on, I was in counseling, I learned that you have to encourage yourself. You've got to lift yourself up. You have to convince yourself. You've got to be your number one cheerleader. You have to be your number one fan. If you're not, you don't win. You know, it's said that if you want it bad enough, if it's important enough to you, you'll find a way to make it happen. If not, you'll find an excuse. See, excuses serve as distractions that help us avoid achieving our desires. Excuses protect our ego from potential anxieties and fears and the shame we might experience if we fail chasing our desires. The excuses we make keep us from trying. If we don't try, we don't fail. If we don't fail, we don't feel bad. By using excuses, we shift that focus from ourselves to something less relevant, less related to ourself. But regardless, excuses do not bring us success. I guess in a way, excuses can change your life by making you feel less anxious, less burdened, and letting you off the hook from something that you might want to have tried. But what keeps us stuck are the excuses we make. You know, from late 1979 to 1993, I had many, many reasons why I drank the way I did. Many reasons for being angry all the time. Many reasons why I was the unfriendly tough guy. And many reasons I liked working in dangerous places. See, drinking kept me in my comfort zone. It kept me from thinking about bad memories. You drink enough, you forget things. Being an angry, unfriendly, tough guy kept people away from me, so I didn't have to answer their silly questions or hear them say that I needed help. And in my mind, if the terrorists were to strike again, I wouldn't hurt if others were lost like I did in the past. Most importantly, is I justified it in my mind by believing it wasn't me with a problem. It was just everyone else. Just they didn't understand. My reasoning kept me stuck in my past. I was reliving bad memories over and over and over again. I was unable to change until it was important enough for me to find a way. I had to make a choice. I either changed my life or I end my life. I made an intentional decision to get help to make a change. Now, many of the veterans I speak with have many of the same reasons why they're stuck, why they're in the same place in their life. I tell them, if you want to change your life, the first step is to stop having reasons why you can't change your life. The first step to a success as an intentional lifestyle is to give up the reasons why you can't by making the choice to be intentional in why you can. To live life on purpose and stop having reasons why you can't. You know, I do a lot of speaking, a lot of traveling, and recently I was speaking at a jail out in Baker City, Oregon. I was out there. I had 15 different engagements at rehab centers, at schools, churches, prisons. And after this one place I spoke, one jail I spoke with at, I had the opportunity to speak with the inmates one-on-one. And one of the ones that I spoke with was a young Marine that had been incarcerated on various drug charges. And I asked him, what did he What did he think got him locked up? He gave me every reason you can think of, every reason you could imagine except for one, the most important one. When he was done, I said to him, what got you locked up is the same thing that will get you out of here. I remember he looked at me and so did everybody else. So I was like, is he crazy? I said to him, it was a choice. You made a choice to break the law, and it will be a choice to complete your rehab program that will bring you release from jail. Unless you stick with your choice to successfully complete your rehabilitation program, you will remain incarcerated. He remained silent for a long time, staring at the floor, and I thought for sure I had lost him. And he said to me, when he finally spoke, he had never heard it put to him like that. It made him realize that most of his life he had been making excuses for bad choices. You know, living intentionally is a choice. It's a choice you make. Eric Thomas said that when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. If you are willing to give up living your life intentionally, begin living your life intentionally, your life will become uncommon. You will live a life that others only dream of. Success, an intentional lifestyle. See you next week. This is your host, Jeff Heiser. Have a great week. Be safe and take care. That's our show today. Remember, you have the power to live intentionally. I'm your host, Jeff Heiser, and I hope you will join me here again next week. Till then, stay safe, be intentional, and spread the word. Success is an intentional lifestyle.